report. Ms. Devaney, you have a letter of reprimand in your file, don't you?
Yes, I do, unfortunately.
In fact, this is for allowing students to play on the basketball team even though they violate this school's zero drug tolerance policy.
I did this without knowing that they had.
So you did not investigate this further?
I did investigate it. I asked them, I confronted them and asked them if they had done it, and they told me specifically no. I believe them, and I'm sorry if that's a shame.
All right, so let me get this straight. You heard rumors that athletes were using alcohol, and you simply asked if they had used it, and they responded no, and that was the end of your investigation.
Yes, it was.
And you allowed them to play in the on the basketball team.
Yes, I did.
However, these students were underage and were later found guilty of this, weren't they?
Yes, they were.
In fact, your administrators found this so important that they did include a letter of reprimand in your file.
As I stated, it's unfortunate, but it happened.
Okay. So, moving on to another subject, you have both Chris Hall and Taylor Jennings in your third hour advanced chemistry class, correct?
Yes, I do.
And that is advanced chemistry, so I'm assuming it is pretty difficult.
It is pretty difficult.
Does it require a lot of studying?
Yes.
Now, Taylor Jennings and Chris Hall were in the race for valedictorian, correct?
Yes, I had heard that they were.
And this was very important to Chris, I'm assuming.
As I'm assuming was important to Taylor Jennings as well.
And Chris Hall is also on your basketball team, correct?
Yes, he's starting point guard.
Okay. And he's probably, I'm assuming with this tough schedule and also being on the basketball team, I'm sure he's pretty stressed out and busy.
Yes, he probably is.
And you stated that he is point guard.
Yes, he's point guard.
Now, if I'm correct, I'm not completely familiar with basketball, but that is important, a very important job on the team, correct?
Well, there's no I in team, so everyone's important on the team.
Right. Okay. So, and for this class, because it is pretty difficult, I assume there's a lot of studying involved for your class in particular.
Yes, there's a lot of studying and outside participation.
And now, focusing on the basketball aspect, you're the coach of Truman's basketball team, correct?
Yes.
In fact, you have been for a while, since 1988.
Since 1988.
Wow. So, and there is a financial incentive for being the basketball coach, correct?
Yes, there is.
And so I'm assuming since you've been the coach for so long, I mean, this team is pretty important to you.
Yes, it's my
Objection,
duty.
Your Honor. I would ask for the relevance of this question.
Have a response, Ms. Wilson?
Yes, I believe it is relevant because she is testifying. She is the coach of the basketball team. I'm just saying the fact that the team is important to her. She knows Chris, and that's basically the point I'm getting at. It is relevant.
May I respond? The string of questions she's asking is about a monetary stipend, and she's following up with that question, so I just would like to know the relevance of that.
The objection will be overruled.
In fact, in the past 19 years, this is the first time that your team has actually been able to go to state, correct?
Yes, it is.
Wow, so I'm sure that puts a lot of pressure on your players,
I'm sure it does.
and especially Chris Hall because he is the star of your basketball team.
He's the star, but I'm pretty sure it put a lot of pressure on all of the team.
In fact, he's actually really good. In fact, Division I schools are looking at him, correct?
Yes, they are.
So you would you agree that a lot of people were expecting a lot of Chris Hall?
Well, I think Chris Hall was expecting a lot of himself, but I think he was capable of it.
Okay. So he had a rigorous schedule, and he was involved on your basketball team, especially, and this was very important now because the state championship was coming up, correct?
It's correct.
Okay. In fact, would you agree that Chris Hall was burning the candle at both ends?
Yes, I'd seen Chris Hall working really hard.
In fact, you also, you recall taking a deposition, correct?
Yes, I do.
And do you recall saying that you had seen him studying late on school nights?
Yes, he had been studying late as many other students were.
In fact, you say that he looked a little run down.
It had been a long season and the strain was showing on him.
Was this normal for Chris Hall?
It was normal for every student.
Was every student point guard on your basketball team and also in the lead for valedictorian?
No, but I'm pretty sure a lot of students are worried about their grades at this point in time.
Okay. Would you agree that a lot of people were putting pressure on Chris Hall to perform well, not only for the basketball team's sake, but for valedictorian as well?
Yes, there was a little bit of pressure on him.
All right. No further questions, Your Honor.